Continuing our look at how Montana's two major parties are working to turn out voters for this year's closely watched elections. Yesterday, we spoke with Republican Party leaders, and today the Montana Democratic Party says they've made changes to their Get Out the Vote efforts after two challenging election cycles. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian has more.
In 2020 and 2022, Republicans swept statewide elections and made gains in the Montana legislature. Montana Democrats say that's in the background as they focus on reaching voters this time around.
We also look back to 2 years ago in our legislative races, and so a lot of folks recognize that things need to change.
Chair Robin Driscoll says the party got started earlier than they have in the past to recruit candidates. And she says with interest from donors in Montana, plus the attention on Senator Jon Tester's re-election campaign, they've been able to invest in a voter outreach effort called Big Sky Victory. They've reported bringing on 3,000 volunteers, knocking on more than 100,000 doors, and making more than 180,000 phone calls.
We have people really excited about our legislative candidates and our candidates up and down the ballot. We have spent a lot more time in rural Montana and Indian country than we ever have.
In 2022, the statewide voter turnout was 61% in the general election. But in 4 counties that cover parts of reservations, turnout was lower than 50%.
We've been there a lot longer this time. The folks that are working in Indian country are Native American, and so they are able to talk to their friends, neighbors, and family a lot easier.
Driscoll says Democrats' efforts are also going to include encouraging same-day registration on Election Day and absentee ballot collection. In 2021, the legislature passed laws ending same-day registration and directing a ban on paid ballot collection. Montana Democrats were plaintiffs in a lawsuit challenging those laws, and the Montana Supreme Court struck them down earlier this year.
Why would you not want everybody who is registered or who is the right age to register to vote? Why would you not want them to vote?
Secretary of State Christy Jacobson has filed a petition asking the U.S. Supreme Court to rule on whether the Montana Supreme Court overstepped their authority when invalidating those election laws. But they didn't ask for emergency consideration, so there wouldn't be a decision before this year's election. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
With less than 70 days until Americans choose their next president, some Montana voters are discussing election integrity. The Republican National Committee held a training as part of their Protect the Vote tour, and MTN's Tommy Lynch was there.
The GOP election integrity team hopes to educate the public on how they can protect their elections.
This should not be a partisan exercise. The Democrats should absolutely agree with us that the sanctity of the ballot is important and that cheating is bad.
At the Great Falls International Airport, the Protect the Vote tour stopped by to educate concerned citizens on election safety and validity.
This is not a conspiracy theory. It's not election denialism. It's about putting basic protections in place so that we have the comfort that the vote is going to count.
Numerous GOP representatives spoke to the crowd, hoping to energize them not only to vote themselves, but to get others out to vote as well.
Really just, voter apathy is a huge problem. And apathy is my vote doesn't matter, my vote doesn't count, or I don't trust the system. And I think that's one of the things that we can really address is trusting the system and making sure that people believe and understand, and we're watching out to make sure that everybody who has the ability to vote is counted and everybody that doesn't, is not qualified to vote, is not counted.
After the speakers, the press was asked to leave as attendees were trained on how they can personally protect the vote.
We want to be educated voters, and we want to educate those that are looking to gain more education, and everybody can't, but we're retired and so we have the time to come, and we just want to understand the process and then encourage other people to get out and vote.
The program emphasized the importance of trusting the system, and it takes each person to hold those around them accountable.
We need to make sure it is done properly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of question as to some of the elections that have not been done properly and evidence to show that. So we want to be part of the ones that when it's done right.
Yeah.
Members of the GOP election integrity team have been pleased with the outcome of these events.
The energy that we're seeing is infectious, and I hope that it continues to grow.
And it's these values that attendees hold dear.
The integrity of elections is fundamental to our constitutional republic.
The GOP election integrity team will be visiting multiple cities in multiple states throughout the country. In Great Falls, I'm Tommy Lynch, MTN News.